In this sprint, we have worked on a usability improvement related to qualifiers for names. So there are, in many cases, or in at least some cases, items that are hidden in the Proto Explorer, but still contained in qualifiers. So now we have changed so that we're taking the active viewpoint into account. And for example, if you're using the capsule development viewpoint, some elements like regions are hidden in the state machine. And now we also exclude them from the qualifiers, which make them shorter and easier to work with. Then we have a completely new feature, which we call event routing visualization. So as the name suggests, this feature helps you understand how events can be routed in the composite structure of a capsule, and you can get a graphic visualization of how that looks. So this is a nice alternative to understanding an existing model compared to open several composite structure diagrams and try to figure out by looking at the connectors and the ports what events actually can be sent over those connectors. It also is an interactive diagram, as you will see in the demo, where you can navigate up and down in the composition hierarchy to decide which part of the composition that you're interested in at the moment. This is currently an experimental feature, so we will continue to evolve it, and we will talk a little bit about what we will do in the demo. But you can easily enable it already now and start to play with it. Then we worked on performance improvements for the tracing. We had an issue that when you started to trace, by default, it was set to capture traces from all elements, which basically doesn't work if the model is of any realistic size. So it works, but it takes a bit of a time. So now we have changed that so that we instead start by only tracing the elements that you explicitly list, which makes it very fast to start, instantaneous. And if you then later decide to switch to trace everything, we also improve that scenario from about 2 minutes down to 20 seconds on a typical production model. There was also an improvement in the tooltip. So if you put your mouse over a transition effect, previously you got a tooltip which wasn't so useful because it could only show one line, where the code usually is much bigger than that. So now we changed to use the same tooltip as we use for the transition itself, which allows you to copy the code, etc. Then we discovered or worked with a number of related things that all have to do with how variables are translated by the model compiler. There are now with C++11 many combinations you can set for use of constant expression, global variables, various kinds of initializers. And we found that for some of those combinations, you could get compiler warnings, and I think even in some case there could be an error. So those have been now fixed. Then we did more work on the feature that we showed before Christmas, this comparison and preview of generated code. However, yes, to recap, this is a feature that allows you to get a quick comparison at code level, what happens when you change something in the model. It works both on code as well as in makefiles. So we got lots of valuable feedback from last sprint demo, which we are still working on. So we haven't completed this feature, it's still experimental, but you can still try it and give us more feedback. Then we worked on 11.1, of course, since we want to ship that in a couple of months, the final version. And in this release, we did many things, but mostly we focused on making it work good with Java 8, since that is what we also want to support in addition to Java 11. But we also found that this new requirement on installation that you need to install with Java 11 makes it a bit cumbersome to install. There are a bit of manual steps that you need to follow. So to simplify that, there is now a new installation script that you can download from our info center that significantly simplifies the installation. It's basically just running the script and it will fix everything for you. It can be used also for 11, but it was in particular useful for 11.1. So this leaves us with 3 experimental features in this release. We have the generate code preview command that we showed last sprint demo, event routing visualization, a brand new feature, and then of course the whole Artist 11.1 release should be treated as experimental at this point in time. And the deliveries is another version of Artist 11 2020-04 that you use with Eclipse 2019-06. And then we also ship another version of 11.1 that you should install on Eclipse 2020-06. And we didn't do any fixes on the older versions, so they are still the same versions as before.